Okay, get down here. We're starting a new video, and I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try a little more minimalistic approach to my videoing. As in, I'm not going to video everything I'm doing like I was. So I'm just going to try and show y'all basically highlights of what I'm doing. And maybe this will go along a little faster and not come out with such long videos. So, let's get to it. So what I'm doing right now, hold on just a second. Make sure y'all can see the tabs I'm looking at. Nope. No. Alright. So I got these. Let me see if I can get y'all aimed in the right direction here. Go down just a little bit. Right there. Okay. So these I've been working on this morning. These came off of the old cross member. They were part of the bracing, and I had to do a lot of cleaning. It's not perfectly square, but that's okay. I'll make that up with weld. What these are going to do is sit right on top of here on each side, just to reinforce this, make it boxed in. I was going to do some gussets, like triangles coming this way, but I think this right here will do fine. A lot of people don't even put anything on their tab, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to call that good enough. Get this cleaned up and painted. Something y'all haven't seen that I have done, show you real quick, is I have painted the upper bars because they are done. The lower bars have not been painted yet because they still get the bag brackets, so I'm not done welding on them yet. But so I'm going to weld these up. I'm not going to video that because, like I said, I'm trying to do a little more that's hard to say, minimalistic approach to the videoing, so that it doesn't make editing such a pain. And maybe I can get these videos, because it's been, I don't know, it's been like a while. I finally got my last one posted, and it was like, when I'm editing, I had like 2 months worth of stuff trying to put into one video. So anyway, so hopefully this goes along quicker, and hopefully we'll get this thing done soon, because I have another one lined up to do when I get this one done, and it will be a Mazda. And you know, I don't know if I've ever done a Mazda before, but it'll be a little bit different, but I'm sure I can figure it out. I did an Isuzu and an S10 back end. Of course, the back end you make it up as you go. So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Meanwhile, I'm going to bridge these tabs. Okay, got these all welded up. Haven't even knocked the stuff off yet. So as you can see, I welded all 3 sides of that. That's going to make those super stout. So this is the final step of this. I don't feel like there's any need to gusset these. I mean, I could, but I think they'll be fine. They're welded good on both sides. So this will have me ready to put this cross member in. Aside from, I do think I'll touch up this weld right here because it sort of, it just don't look to suit me. The rest of them looks pretty good. And that's mostly aesthetics. It would be fine. It's not going anywhere. These pieces I knocked out of that old cross member with my hammer. But, you know, y'all have already seen plenty of that. I pretty much knocked that whole cross member apart with my hammer. So this cross member is entirely new. Everything's new. And it will be hopefully mounted today. And I can get my 4-link in and start working on my back. before I mount it, I'm going to clean it all up and paint it. Now, I'm not going to worry about the edges where I got to weld, but I'm going to paint the rest of it, especially the back side, because once it's mounted, I will not be able to access that to paint anything. So I like to kind of paint stuff as I go, you know, when I can. So yeah, we'll start cleaning him up and get him painted, and after I touch that little weld up, and then see if we can get him in there. Okay, so I have took my flapper wheel here and went over this everywhere I could, but of course in between these tabs I can't get to, and so what I'm going to do there is clean the welds good with my wire brush, and then somewhere around here I got a piece of sandpaper, and I'll sand in between here as well as wire brushing all this. But once we get all this cleaned up good, we'll shoot some paint on her. Yeah, of course I'll have to let it dry some before I can put it in. So I may not get it put in today, but at least I will have it ready. Of course, as hot as it is, it won't take long for spray paint to dry, so. I don't know, but I don't really think any of this is going to be seen once the bed is finished and done anyway. So mostly we're painting it so it'll look good until we put the bed on, and you know, keep it from rusting. So that's why I'm using spray paint, because if you're going to do gun paint, you basically need to get everything done, then disassemble it all again, and then paint. And I don't really have that kind of time for this, so. Okay, so great. Let's start the tack rack before we get it. All right. Normally I like to use shop towels, but I don't seem to have any right now. So I got my old trusty fake moonshine. It's just rubbing alcohol, and I diluted it with a little water. I was carrying it around the rat rod, but well, I stopped. Decided a glass bottle next to a lot of sparks full of flammable liquid may not have been the greatest idea, so I took it out. So what I'm going to do is I've got this clamped as far to the front as I can, and I'm going to paint this backside first, and see how much my tack rag is bringing off here. So this is just rubbing alcohol, and I used to use thinner, but I found out that thinner actually leaves a little bit of an oily film, so you don't really want to use thinner for doing this. So your final cleaning, they make a special solvent for it, but like I say, I use rubbing alcohol. It's cheap, it evaporates quickly, and seems to work pretty well for me. Okay, so now, especially as hot as it is. Now, first thing I want to do is, I got this from Harbor Freight, self-etching primer. When you're doing bare metal, you need etching primer to get a good bite on the metal. So we're going to start by priming this. Start by shaking your can. I'm hoping I have enough, because I'm going to use quite a bit out of this. You don't really have to have a real heavy coat cover. You just need to get the whole thing covered. See, like you can actually see through that, but that's okay. This is just to promote adhesion. Now, is this the best way to do this? Probably not, because I want to be able to do part of it, and then I'm going to have to turn it over and do the other part. But now, the primer also dries very quickly, especially since it's probably 90-some degrees outside. And yes, I'm well ventilated here. As you can see, my fog is blowing away. I have not only the fan in the back pulling out, I have a box fan blowing right at me here. So the only way I can keep from melting in here. Now, next question is, do I want to just go ahead and paint this? And then flip it over and do the other part? I think that's what I'm going to do. So, unfortunately, my paint is over here. Now, my spray paint is Black & Decker. I never knew Black & Decker made paint, but as you can see, I got it from Ollie's. We just wanted a basic gloss black, nothing fancy. So now we're going to shoot this backside and then let that dry some. And then hopefully I can maybe close the vise up a little bit and balance it on the other part. Hopefully that'll work. I'd rather have it clamped, but then that's going to scuff up the paint. So we'll figure it out. Of course, I can always go back and touch it up. Oh, nice coverage. Of course, you should probably wear a respirator for this, but you know, I'm a dumbass, so don't pay no attention to my t-shirt on my nose here. So this first coat, I'm just going to cover everything, but we're not trying to, you know, do real heavy because you don't want runs and all that. Alright, well, this has dried plenty. Been out messing with my lawnmower. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to get this loose without flopping. Just set him like that right there. Yeah. Wipe this side down. Then drop. Okay. So I went ahead and welded these two of these tabs on the rear end, and then I'm going to work some. Oh yeah, they're still hot. So what I'm trying to do with those is weld one on each side, allow that to cool before I weld more, because you don't want to weld too much on your rear axle at once. You can warp it. Now we have a handy dandy scrappy piece of construction paper here, and I couldn't find the scissors, so y'all probably gonna laugh at this, but it works. These are sheet metal shears. Might be a little tough to do those precision cuts, but we'll get by with it. Alright, so first thing we want to do with this is set it over here. See how hot this is. Let's see. Oh, that's not so bad. So we're going to set him down here, and we're going to draw around it. I ain't like that. The crooked chiropractor pin actually came in pretty handy. Now I'm going to, you know what? I just had a thought. I shouldn't even do that way. Okay, so this is our basic, what our cross member is here, but instead of cutting this out the shape of that, I need to bring it out here to meet the frame. That will really give me some strength. Okay, that's using your needle. So we're going to bring it looking like down here. Yeah, that'll work. And then that there. Go there. Ouch. Ouch. Somebody didn't grind that very smooth. Now down here, we're going to go with top of the frame. On there. Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at here, but I think if I go from what I got there, so we'll cut this one. This is the top of our frame. Now this one, I'm just going to make that a single slope up there mostly. And I'm going to let it come out a little bit so that it ain't completely peaked, to make it a little stronger. We'll round him around there. And then we're going to match the back side of our cross member. Now the welding that to the back side of that, I honestly need to make that a little bit smaller so that I can get to it and weld it here. But what we're going for is that right there, and it will sit. And you know what? I think we do need to make it a little smaller, because for that to sit flat and on top of that, and that has a slight curve to it as well. You see, that's why you make it out of paper first, because you can trim this easily. It has a little bit of a curve to it up there, I believe. And then this top, we need to take a little bit off the top. Get a little haircut here. I'm going to cut right along that and here. And then this other part, I can let it sit. Yeah, let it sit. Now, okay, if we're sitting on top of the frame there, we need a little more off of this part. See, this frame is curved right there just a little bit, so we want to match that contour. I'm going to have to grind a little bit of that weld right there, sticking out. Contour. I'm hoping y'all are getting this because I'm down here in this corner. Let me turn you a little bit. Oh! Yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it? Alright, so yeah. Here's our template we're making. And we want him to sit flush on top of the frame. There's a little dab of weld I got to grind right there. And then I'm still whittling it down. I want this down a little bit. I don't want this flush with the top of it. I want it down so that it exposes the edge. You get a better weld that way. So we're going to take a little more off the top. Yeah. So now I got a little bit of edge exposed here, a little bit of edge exposed here, and should be sitting about on the frame right there. It looks pretty good. Always want to use gloves with this thing because it throws a lot of sparks, and if the airflow happens to kick back the wrong way, it will burn the crap out of you. Trust me, I know. So we're going to start with, and of course I'm doing this all freehand here. So I think we'll start right here where we already got a notch. And whenever you're going to start, like on this corner, I'm going to start over here at the edge and come to that corner, because if you start here, there again, you get that blowback. Now what you got to do though is scoot it back a little bit, because you got to allow an 1/8 inch for the tip of the cutter. And when you do that, and you can actually cut through the paper, so your guide, you still have to kind of control it. Y'all seen that little kick back there that I was talking about? Now that's got these two edges that's cut pretty smooth. The reason I wanted to do that, because you can't really push this thing along. That doesn't work. You have to drag it. So I'm going to start this one in the middle and freehand the rest of this little line. By the way, this is 1/8 inch plate. I have some quarter-inch plate, but I didn't really want to use anything that heavy. The shape and where I'm welding it gives it the strength. The tubing is 1/8 inch wall tubing, so I didn't really see the point of putting a 1/4 inch plate on 1/8 inch tubing when this will do the job. Cuts much easier to work with. I will be using the 1/4 inch for some of the frame reinforcements. Alright, now we got our straight cut, but this template here is not long enough to get them both. So, let's see, if I have another straight edge here. Yes. So this is just another piece of scrap metal, but it's cut and it's straight edge here. So we're going to line that up right there. And then we're going to just, since I don't have this on the lift, we got to do it the hard way. Sometimes that's laying on a board and welding. Well, what I wanted to do and what I ended up doing ended up being two different things. Had a big storm roll through just now, so I took my drive shaft through while I don't like to weld during an electrical storm. But I needed to get to where I could get to these bottom tabs, and well, I wanted to turn the rear end completely upside down, but I forgot about the e-brake cables. So this is as far as I could get. So what I'm going to do is weld them around the front half, and then let this, I've got this jack holding it by the drain plug. Weld all the front halves, and then I will go back, let it loose, and turn it towards the back as much as I can. and weld the back halves. So I may can pretty much get them from here, but not exactly the way I wanted to do it. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Whatever you can sometime. And so firstly, you're welding vertical, you gotta start at the bottom and come up. Oh, and also you need to ground, oops, the rear end and not the frame. When you're welding, usually you're kind of pulling your weld, but when you're doing this vertical stuff, you kind of got to kind of push it. But this one, you can do that so easily. Yeah, I was going to be welding today, so I made sure I wear pants, you know, to protect me from sparks and all. And shoes instead of sandals, so I didn't have to wear my little floppy leather ones. Alright, got all the welding done on the front side and rolled him up to the back side here. I believe this is going to work alright. Oh, works a whole lot better when you put the counter clamp back on. Alright, so I got my wooden blocks cut. I got my bag bracket set up over there, but got to trim it down if I'm going to use it. And got to clean all these up because boy, they made a real mess out of them. I'm going to try and use them back. He did pay a lot of money for this kit, so I am going to try and use what I can. Plus that keeps me from having to source new metal. I've already got these made. Look at that one. That's yeah. Anyway, so yeah, these are going to take a little while to clean up, but saves me from having to cut new ones or find new metal to cut them out of or whatever. Well, I have been cleaning on these new, old pieces here. This was the one that still had the stuff on it. Found a 60 grit flapper disc, works really well for cleaning that up, but we still got all this crap in here. Now this one, well, I was going to say it looks fairly straight, but after looking at it a little closer, I don't believe it does. But now this one was the one I was mocking up a while ago. I got to clean it up. But looking at this side's high, this side's low. It's in there crooked. And from looking at those welds, so we're back to doing this stuff again. Seeing how well the welds are, because I'm going to say not very well. Here, I'm going to say this side's going to come loose. I can see through it. Yeah, that side's pretty much loose. I think right here is about the only thing really holding. So if I say him back here, trying not to bend the plate. Now I haven't ground on this at all, so just hammer. Okay, we got a little spot right here. There it is. See, that little spot was holding. Other than that, there we go. Well, that'll make it easier. Just clean all this back up to clean tubing. And the plate, well, there won't be much to clean off the plate really. So, like I say, I got to cut it down, so it'll be easier to cut it down apart than together. Now this one, this side looks like it's got a little bit of weld holding, and then he gouged down in the plate with the grinder. I'll probably turn them over, use the cleaner side to the top. But this one, I'm going to say, ain't going to be much harder to get apart. A little bit right there. Alright, I'm going to hit it with the grinder just a little bit, just to make it a little easier. Mostly this one spot. Now that's just a grinding wheel, not a cutoff wheel. If it's a cutoff wheel, I can cut this out pretty easy. But what fun is that? There we go. That was all I ground, was that one spot right there. Yeesh. Whoever would have got the bag brackets situated where they got any pressure on them, they'd have just popped right out of there. So now I got to clean all this crap up. But, and I may not even use the tubes, honestly, thinking about it. See, I cleaned one of these up. So what I may do, well, thing of it is I got to cut it off back to about 3 inches. I may just use the plates and some gussets, because the tubes may not be, for the way I'm doing it, the tubes really aren't beneficial, so I probably cleaned that one up for nothing. But at least that gives me some plates I can use. Alright, well, once again on how not to weld. Jeez. There again, no words. I'm not even going to. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is the old axle brackets, how they're rounded. So I'm going to notch them out square so that they'll fit on here. And then the bag will bolt onto that. Okay, so that's all well and good. But rather than fighting with the bag, we have our little 3-inch blocks here. And I don't have it all the way down, so this is not fully set up type thing. Hey, that's actually about right for the plate. So, interesting. If the plate comes out about right like that, then I can maybe use my little gussets that goes with the plate. Just eliminate the tubing, the round tube that goes around here, because it's really no purpose for it. So, got to come up with some inner plate, because what we'll do, this is just an example. It's not. This was something that was welded there. It'll trim off and weld to that. See, it leaves a gap here. I could cut what I cut off here and put up here and weld it up, but I'd rather do it in one piece. Although that's a possibility. It could work. I'll see if I can find something else. If not, I may do that. And then there's another little gap down here at the bottom. I'll have to have a little filler piece for, plus another piece on the bottom. I've got some plates that I cut off that I can use for that. But yeah, I'm thinking this right here is going to be the ticket, because that puts me in approximately, by the time you add for the 1/4 inch plate there, that centers my bolts about right with the tubing, and that's going to be pretty good. I would show you all how the gussets will situate if I had them over here in handy, but so yeah, that's going to work out all right. After all, I typically like to make my bracket out of one piece and bend the gussets instead of welding them, but that's all right. We're going to work with what we got. That's kind of been part of the theme of this build. Work with what you got. So, looking pretty good so far. Alright, no real action here, so come back when we got some real action going on. Okay. This is the old bag on the axle brackets. And we got to clean all this bird shit weld off, like I've done here. Then I have a scrap of the old cross member, which is 2x2 tubing, and I will mark out and cut this round notch into a square notch, and these will then fit on my bars. So that's what I'm doing now. So yeah. Now, a little tip of what I'm doing. This welds are terrible. So they're grinding fairly easy, but what I'm doing is taking my hard disc, going over them, grinding them down. Then I'll go back over with my 60 grit flapper wheel to get them nice and smooth. And this is the result you get. Makes it much nicer. I need the smooth surface to be able to cut this nicely, and pretty much this won't be seen anyways, but still needs to clean up well. So alright, next we got a piece of our old so-called cross member. Cleaned the end of it up, and we got this cleaned up. So just want to show y'all on one of these what I'm going to do here. It's pretty simple. Just take your square tubing, line it up with your round notch. By doing that, I'm just going to take this and set it in about the middle there, and then roll it up here. But I want to slide it down, so we're going to actually play with it here until we get it in the right spot. Okay. Because I want the top of this about even with the other, but I want it centered to the round part. So like so, should be approximately right. Now I'm going to trace around that. Now, in tracing this like this, what I want to do is when I take my cut, I want to leave the line. I want to just go right in the edge of it there. And then that way, it should be a snug fit. If you cut on the line, it's going to be a little loose, which would be okay, but we want a good snug fit. So this is sticking up just slightly. I'm pretty much strictly going with my placement with the best place I can fit it here. I want it as far to the front as I can, but I don't want it sticking out that where it's only half stuck here. So we're trying to go with as much contact as possible. So I think right there is about where we're going to put it. So when I get this one in place, then I'll measure this one to make sure I get the other one the same. Which I ain't done nothing to that side yet. thing I want to show y'all before I finish up this video. A lot of people do different things on the bottom of the bags, and I ended up welding the bracket on one of the bars before I put the bolt in. I was going to put the bolt in the bracket, and then it'd just have to be there, and if the bolt ever messed up, then you got to figure out what to do. So I come up with a different idea to make this a little more practical and to where you won't have to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is thread this bolt. Well, wait, I'm skipping something here. Thread this nut onto the bolt, and then we're going to thread the bolt into the bag and cut the head off, essentially creating a stud. Now this particular bolt, I don't know where they came from. I've had a bucket of these forever. I'm about to run out of them, but it has this little nipple on the end of it. So what that will do is bottom out in the bag, and that way the stud will stay put. You could put Loctite on it or whatever, but when it tightens down with the nut, it's not going to really matter anyway. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to thread this down in here until that tightens up. Run the nut down out of the way. Then we're going to take our cutoff wheel and cut the bolt off. Deburr it a little bit, and then now this is why you put the nut on, so that you can thread it back off, and then if there's any little burrs there, the nut will just straighten them right out. Of course, you can always run a thread and tap on them. Should probably be the proper thing to do, but it works. That's good now. So now we have a stud, and I already checked it. That's a little hot. I already checked it. It won't stick down far enough in the mount to bottom out, so the tricky part's going to be reaching up in there and getting the nut started, but I can probably just hold it with my fingers and twist the bag to get it started. I'm going to have to jack the truck up, or perhaps bolt the bag to the lower bar before they put the bar in. Anyway, we'll figure that out on assembly, but this will be great. Now I don't have to worry about that being an issue, and so that'll do for that. And let's take this off where I can actually hear in these, and that'll do it for this video. I've been trying to finish it up. I'm trying not to make these things come out lasting so long. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and kind of taking notes of, okay, this gets monotonous, I won't do that, or whatever. Anybody can do their own thing, do it ever how they want. That's the beauty of it. But I try to keep it interesting, and hopefully I'll learn something useful or entertained or something. I don't know. But that takes care of this, and in the next one I'll have this all bolted back up, and the bags will be working on the rear, even on shop air. Then I've got a major job of moving the Z, cleaning off the lift, because I need to get this thing on the lift so I can do the front, and I got a little bit welding to do under the bottom, but I really need to get it on the lift so that it will be much easier. I'm not breaking my back doing the front on this floor when I got a lift back there. I just got to put my gas tank back in my car and move it, and yada yada yada. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Later.